Sports on Air.
Kamusta tayo dyan? At nandito na naman tayo sa Sports on Air at this time in this episode of Foul Counted. Kasama natin ang ating mga YouTubers. We have a special guest for today. At pero bago tayo pumunta sa ating special guest, pumunta muna tayo sa ating mga makakasama today. Unang-una nandyan si The Godfather, Brian Yalong. Kamusta naman, Brian?
Okay lang. Good morning to everybody.
And of course, from Dugout Philippines, Ivan Saldaheno.
Good day to everyone.
Actually, umaga kay Ivan, pero kala mo gabi. No? Parang si Batman yan.
Time zone.
Anyway, and kasama natin ngayon si 3B Hoops. Hello, Drin.
Hello, sir. Bago ang lahat, magandang umaga muna.
Magang umaga, tanghali, gabi, kung saan man sila nanonood, sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Yan po, ito po ang Foul Counted. Kasama rin po namin, hindi lang makakasama ngayon sa episode natin, si Admin LA, Eagle Hoops, Hoop Junkie, Hoop Highlights, PH Sports Bureau, W Hoops Play, W Gameplay PH, Basketball PH Rev, and Hottest 5 PH. Again, sinasaluduan po natin ang si Hottest 5 PH. Sundan niyo po yung channel din ng lahat ng mga YouTubers na yan. Si Hottest 5, isa po yung frontliner na kaya hindi nakakasama sa ating mga podcast, no? Pero yun, sinasalba niya ang ating bayan dito. But anyway, without further ado, no? Kamustahin na natin Coach Bo Perasol. Coach Bo, how are you doing?
Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat at napakaraming salamat sa pagkakataon na itong binigay niyo sa akin. No? This is going to be, as you said, this is going to be fun. No? And I like talking about our programs also, about what I had been through, no, as a coach. Not only to talk about it, but also to parang mabigyan ko rin ng pagkakataon ng pag-asa ba, ng inspiration yung mga pwedeng makinig, no, na kung nasaan ka nang galing, pwede ka rin magkaroon ng isang maayos na karera dito sa basketball.
At yan, sisimulan natin kung kailan nagsimula si Coach Bo hanggang ngayon, no? Ilang years na ba yung coach kung bibilangan nyo?
Nako, nagsimula ako ng kung coaching, in terms of coaching, no, after graduation sa UP, up to now, kasi pagkatapos ko ng UP mga 1993, up to now I had been coaching, you know, except for the lull that I told you earlier, when I went to work for a corporate company.
Ganun na kahaba ang kumbaga yung pasado na ang basketball knowledge ni Coach Bo. No, but anyway, bago tayo magsimula, pasalamatan muna natin ang sponsor natin for today. We have the garlic steak by King. Kung kayo ay taga Colegio San Agustin, Makati, ito yung isa sa mga paboritong pagkain na kinakain ng mga tao doon. At paborito ko rin, taga CSA din ako. So, ayan, pumunta lang po kayo dito sa, hanapin nyo po si Miss Carmela Fonashare. At pinopost po namin kung paano mag-order. Napakasarap po niyan. The garlic steak by King. At yan po yung mga details natin kung paano mag-order. So, supportahan po natin ang ating mga small businesses na nagbebenta ngayon, lalo na sa pandemic. Di ba? Coach, baka kayo, meron din kayong mga small business ngayon na binibenta or ano?
Gusto nyo i-promote.
Well, taga-bili ako eh. You know, yung mga kaibigan ko, napakahilig ko sa pagkain. So, lahat ng i-offer nila, bigyan mo. Basta pwedeng ihatid dito sa bahay. Pwede ako lagi. Although, syempre, nagsisimula ngayon yung wife ko. We have a preschool that's having a virtual educational platform right now. So, medyo ito yung inuumpisahan nila. She has a preschool called Haven of Learning dito sa amin, dito banda sa Laguna. So, nag-uumpisa sila ngayon ng kanilang school since yesterday.
Yun. So, maganda palang benta si Coach. Na humihindi ka naman, Coach.
Wala akong hinihindian. Simula suka, bagoong, lahat. tinapa, tapa, puno kayo. Kasi siyempre, kailangan mo puro kaibigan mo rin. Ano? Ang
Yes,
gusto
yes.
mo rin dyan maintindihan, siyempre, humahanap rin ng diskarte sa mga ganito. Kesa naman, umutang na lang at humingi ng pera.
Yun.
Diba? So,
Tama yan.
dumidiskarte sila. So, in that way, nakakatulong ka pa sa kanila.
At yan na nga. So anyway, Coach Bo, simulan na natin yung usapang basketball dito, no? Kasi kung magpatuloy, usapang pagkain na nakakagutom na eh. Coach Bo, pag-usapan
Oh, boy.
natin, not much has been recorded, no? In your playing years. Can you describe to us, para sa mga for those kids right now, who is Coach Bo Perasol as a basketball player? Anong klaseng player siya?
Nako, alam mo, nagsimula ako, tiga Mindanao ako no? From the South Cotabato area. So when ako, ang pasok ko sa UP is not the normal basketball entry. No, I was a legitimate student of UP. So pumasa ako sa exam, gusto kong mag-aral, but at the same time, during high school, mahilig na akong maglaro ng basketball So I asked one of my classmates when I was in freshman, may nagpapatryout ba ng varsity? Malakas ang loob ko nagpapatryout ba ang UP? I think I was 6 feet at that time. So maliit ako, no? Pero alam mo, pag probinsyano, malakas tumalon, mabilis, malakas ang katawan, payat pa ako at that time
At saka Coach, matangkad na yan sa probinsya Ginagawa niya, Port Center yan
At saka nakaka-dunk ako at that time. Kaya nga sabi ko, mataas ako tumalon So, knowing UP at that time, that was late 80s, wala na sila Benji Wala na sila Benji Paras, wala na sila Ronnie. So they were looking for, ito na yung phase UP. Wala nang pupunta, nagkakaroon na, tumataas na yung programa ng Lasal, Ateneo, FEU, UST, lumalakas na lahat. Ang UP, pababa na. Nabigyan ako ng pagkakataon, tryout. Nag-tryout ako. But then again, kung ako mag-scout sa sarili ko, I was really unskilled. Kung ako maglalagay ng scouting report, I was all right. Ibig sabihin, puro kanan ako. Malakas lang ako, pero puro kanan. I could not dribble with my left. But I could shoot from outside. I could jump. I could rebound. Okay, I could hustle. Yun lang yung talent ko. But in all those 5 years, I maximized myself. And nakita mo naman, wala rin akong napuntahan after this. So ibig sabihin, I was just a utility guy. Kaya pag ako ngayon nagko-coach, galit na galit ako sa mga players ko if they don't go hard every time, because that was the kind of player that I was.
Actually, Coach, ito nga ang sinasabi nila, yung mga ganyang players nga daw, yung mga sometimes kung sino pa yung mga off the bench and everything, sila yung nakaka-observe talaga sa laro. And giving you the coaching attitude. Parang si Steve Kerr, no? Parang si Steve Kerr, hindi naman siya superstar ng Bulls, pero tingnan niyo, siya yung isa sa ngayon na nag-absorb ng mga turo ng mga coach kay Popovich, kay
Phil Jackson. Yeah, tama.
So, would you say na siguro ito yung naging destiny ko, no? Siguro kaya ako hindi masyadong pinag-PBA or ginawang superstar ng PBA is because this is going to be my calling in the future.
Well, most probably because even when I was in college, I had this heart for teaching. Parang gusto ko palagi nagtuturo ako. But there was no formal education for me as far as basketball is concerned. Later on na lang yon sa career ko. But at that time, when I get a solid knowledge and a certain skill or a certain situation in basketball, gusto ko ituro sa mga bata, kaya after graduation, nabanggit ko kanina, I really wanted to teach right away. Yung gusto ko lang maituro sa kanila, ito yung tama. But my knowledge in basketball wasn't the X and O part of basketball. It was more of the lumaban ka, you have to exert your effort all the time. You have to you cannot quit. Yun yung mga bagay na itinuturo ko. Never, hindi naman never, but less doon sa ito yung tamang screen, ito yung tamang paggamit ng pick and roll. I teach those, pero hindi siya emphasis. Alam mo yon, hindi ko siya masyadong na-emphasize. I was more of a team first coach. Laban coach. Kung akong titingnan ko yung sarili ko ngayon. Ganun yun. Ganun ako.
So coach, ito no, syempre nandun pa tayo sa playing years natin sa UP. Ito, Brian, may tanong ka regarding his playing years in UP. Ang volume natin.
Sorry, kasi baka sermonan mo na naman ako eh. Hindi, coach, nung yung UAAP, kasi I also followed yun, nasa Lasal ako before eh. I remember you so well. Ikaw, binabat na yan ba si Jun Limpot? Remember? Tama ba ako? I think si Jun Limpot, you were the one guarding him at that time?
Yeah, oo. In fact, Bri, kung meron akong naaalala na isang basketball situation, kasi siguro in my entire career sa UAP, siguro bilang mo lang yung tinalo namin ng Lasal, no? But this was the time na Coach Gabby was coaching them, and alam mo yung galaw ni June na attack and then turn around jump shot. No, there was a time na I was able to block that shot. No, so yun yung pinaka-naalala ko kasi June Limpot was already June Limpot at that time.
Yes.
No, so talagang nasapal ko si June Limpot. Tuwang-tuwa ako at that time. So alam mo na, even when I was watching him in the PBA, but June Limpot was one of the best big men at that time, no, sa Lasal.
Ewan coach, pero parang naalala ko siya sabi yung tuwan-tuwa kayo.
Tuwan-tuwa ako. We beat them. We beat them yung panahon na yon. No, I could remember that because that was held in I think that was in the Ateneo Blue Eagle gym.
Naalala ko kasi si coach medyo 6'3" lang kayo coach or ano ba yung height, 6'3", di ba?
Wala, mga lang ako. Almost 6'2" lang. Almost 6'2" lang.
And you were guarding a very tall,
It's like 6'5", 6'6".
That was
leaper lang kasi ako, I could leap that well. And if you remember, I would also guard si John Cardel. Diba? Si John was a superstar, no? Si John, yan yung magaling nila eh. Yan yung 1-2 punch nila at the time. So, yan yung ginagwardyahan ko, no? Both yan. But that was the team during that time, yung Lasal Green Archers team na yan, no? Sila yung mga mistiso, mga gwapo, at that time. Nakakatuwa.
Yeah, UP was very unpredictable at that time. Tsaka kung bimit ng UP na sana, kinakapala ako dito sa UP. Parating yun nga, si Coach Bo naaalala ko from that time.
Ang UP naman puro lang palaban eh. Puro laban. Hindi mo malala. Siguro sa 14, okay na kami makakalima, 6. No? At that time ang perennial na whipping boy was NU eh. No? So yun yung NU. So wag lang kaming mapareho sa NU. No, Ateneo during my time, kasi after nung back-to-back nila, medyo humina din sila. So nung panahon nila Richie Tixon, nila Vince Hizon, nila Coach Sandy, medyo mahina pa sila at the time. Hindi sila nakakapag-contend all the way. Pero pag Lasal Ateneo, laging 1-1. Naging 1-1 at that time.
And I think UST rin ang malakas nun.
Yun ang
Coach Arik,
panahon ko. Yun yung FEU, yan. Sila Johnny, sila Vic Pablo. So, ang UST had, yun yung dynasty nila. Yun yung 5 pit, I think, ng UST.
Espino, Daldavid.
Yan,
Patrick
lakas nun. Evangelista,
Yun.
Edmond Reyes,
Yung
yun yung ang lalakas, grabe. Oh.
And what is it like umaharap sa ganong kalakas na team noon at sino yung kabantayan mo noon?
Alam mo, kaya nga binabanggit ko kanina sa'yo, dahil nga probinsyano ako, medyo matapang yung loob ko. Kulang sa skills, pero matapang. Alam mo yon, yung hindi ako natatakot, pero kapos na kapos, hindi maka-breakdown one-on-one ng kalaban. Pag na-open ka, tumitira ka lang. No? Pero pag may loose ball, hahabulin mo. Pag merong rebound, hahabulin mo. So yun yung mga alam kong maraming magagaling. In fact, ang sinasabihan ko nito ngayon, at the time during ang freshman ako noon, pinakamagaling noon na player was, I don't know if you remember him, si Coach Andy De Guzman. No? Si Andy De Guzman, napakahusay nung panahon na yun. No? Kaya pag kinakausap ko siya ngayon, sabi ko, Andy, nung panahon natin, talagang ang galing-galing mo. Sabi ko, hindi ka mabantayan. There was a time talagang magaling yung FEU. I think sila yung nag-champion ng 1980 o 1989.
Yeah.
So, yun, ang lakas ng team na yun.
Okay, Coach. Ito, next question natin from 3B Hoops.
Hello, Coach. Ito follow-up question lang actually. Kasi nabanggit nyo kanina yung XNO sa basketball. So, medyo may experience kasi ako dyan dati. Nung naglalaro pa ako under sa Lyceum, nung pumasok kasi sa amin si Coach JB Gayoso, medyo ang hirap nung intindi nung parang XNO pag naglalaro ka lang dun sa mga mababang level ng liga. So ano yung naging adjustment nyo para ma-follow nyo yung ganung mga plays na binibigay ng mga organized basketball team talaga sa Manila?
Alam mo, katulad nung sinabi ko kanina, una, naman ako, pagdating dun sa, if you're referring when I was playing, medyo mabilis ako mag-pick up sa ganyan. No? Medyo mabilis ako mag-pick up kasi iniisip ko palagi kung paano ko masushoot pag na-open ako. That was the question. No? But I could follow the plays. Now, when I was coaching, and when I am coaching right now, naiintindihan ko kung ano yung itinatakbo. No? Kasi napakarami kong players na mahusay talaga, pero pag pinasunod mo na at pinaisip, alam nyo to pag pinag-isip mo na yung player, nawawala na yung galing. Di ba? So, alam mo, kailangan gamitin mo muna itong backpick na to. Kailangan screen mo dito, you have to flare on this. Pag pinag-isip mo na ng ganun yon, parang pakiramdam nila, parang nanghihina na sila. No? Pero give them the ball, kailangan intindihin mo no? Pero pag may makita kang player na skilled, talented, mahusay sa open court, kaya pag sinasabi ko, ikaw pag open ka na sa court, huwag mo nang hintayin yung kalaban mo. Dumiretso ka na, I have your back. Huwag hindi magagalit yung teammate mo pag sinabi ko na at that time umatake ka. Kasi yan yung strength nila no? Pero pag alam mo nang pag-play na, alam mo nang very simple lang dapat ang ibigay mo na play sa kanila.
Okay.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, Drin. Next question coming from Ivan Saldaheno of Dugout.
Okay, so Coach Bo, if I can remember, nakasabay mo pa si Commissioner Kenneth sa UAP. I think it was 1993.
Yun pa pala.
Yun, So, but I think your last year was 1993. Pero, but that was also the year na nag-breakout si Kenneth. I think he averaged 39 points per game that year. Talk about guarding him despite nga, and how was he able to get that stats?
Si Coach Ken, bata pa kami, magkasama na kami. You know, di ba naalala mo, binanggit ko taga South Cotabato, ako taga Marbel. No, so siya si Captain Marbel, no. High school pa lang siya, payat pa siya, magkakalaban na kami. Yung kuya niya is my batch, no. Barkada ko, so we studied in the same elementary school. We had the same. So even nung nag-try out siya, dinala siya ni Angel Patrimonio dito sa Maynila, sa Adamson. talagang magkakasama kami niyan and all, no? And I was really amazed how he improved as a player. Napakahusay, in fact, sabi ko nga sa iyo, dalawa lang yung players na gusto ko panuurin sa UAAP during my time. No? Although graduate na ako, in high school I really wanted to watch si Paulo Mendoza. Si Paulo Mendoza would score 50, 60, 70 points eh. Si Paulo. Sa college naman, si Kenneth would score on average siguro mga 30, 40 and 50. Minsan nagma-match kami, and that was my career high. Career high ko to eh. We were up against Adamson. So syempre talo kami, no? And I was so happy because when I looked at the stats sheet, I scored 38 points, no? That was my career high in the UAP. And when I looked at Kenneth's stat, he scored 45 points. Sabi ko, paano tayo mananalo dito, no? So we would laugh at that because that was just parang in a day's work lang yan para kay Kenneth. No, so it's just amazing how he was able to carry that on even doon sa PBA niya, no? But yung college career ni Coach Kenneth was really amazing. Sobrang galing panuurin.
So were you still talking with Commissioner Kenneth regarding that scoring show na yun noong 93? Or no?
Oo naman. Palagi, 'di ba? Pag umuwi ako ng Marbel, lagi kami nagkikita. In fact, when I was scouting one of the MPBL players before this lockdown, I went to him in Davao during the semifinals, I think, of MPBL. So he would always accommodate me pag mga games ng MPBL, no? And we are very close ni Com Kenneth.
So now that you mentioned the pros, so I asked, why did you decide not to join the draft?
Very simple answer. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough, to get in the PBA or even play on another level after UAP. After playing the UAP, I became a coach right away. I became a coach right away. Remember, Brian, when I was telling you I was coaching UP high school, I was already working for China Bank.
Yes.
I was already, so I would practice from 5 a.m. up to 6 a.m. kasi yun lang yung slot na open dun sa UP at that time. High school ito, And then if you remember yung gym ng UP nandiyan sa Commonwealth, I would cross the Commonwealth from our gym and look for, and at that time alam ni Joel ito, FX ang mode of transportation. So basang-basa pa ako, magja-shower na ako sa gym, takbo na ako. Trabaho na sa China Bank kasi ang sweldo ko sa high school noon was about, I think, 3,000 or 4,000 a month eh.
Okay.
So hindi ako mabubuhay, di ba? So pag ang teammate ko, isa sa mga teammates ko, si Patrick Aquino, si Coach Pat. He was already working in China Bank. Sabi niya, pare, punta ka rito dahil magandang basketball dito. There's an interbank eh. Malakas yung interbank at that time, no? Kasama yung paring Joel. So, sinasabi ko na sige, basta isama mo ako diyan para madagdagan itong sweldo ko rito sa UP High School. So, yun yung mga hard times, but I was so happy then because I was doing what I really wanted to do.
Anong year yung coach? Yung nagpumunta kayo ng China Bank?
Right? Siguro mga mid-90s na yon. Siguro mga after siguro mga 95 o 96. Nagsimula ako yon.
Nag-World Youth Day pa kayo, Coach? World Youth Day.
Oo.
Nagkasalisi kami ni Coach. Ako, Coach, 94, I got in May 94 but I resigned in December. Lumipat ako.
Same year?
Yeah. Pero si Joel, matagal ko ng kaibigan niya, bata pa kami.
Okay.
Kasi diba, Coach, yung mga sweldo na nasa 3,000 plus lang? China Bank.
Kasi high school eh. At saka gobyerno, alam mo, di ba? UP high school yun eh. Kaya sabi ko nga, kung yung basketball, nagsimula talaga ako sa baba. No, sweldong mababa, but I was very happy, no, because I was doing what I wanted to do. Gising ka ng maaga. Isipin mo, alas 5, I had to wake up by 4 a.m. No? 4 a.m. para lang makarating ako ng alas 5. Although I was in the same. Kaya yung paghihirap ko sa basketball, kung ano man yung ine-enjoy ko ngayon, pinaghirapan ko 'yon.
Yeah.
No, nagsimula ako ron sa baba. Hindi ito automatic. Oy, nag-coach ka ng gano'n, lumaki sweldo mo. Hindi, nandun ako sa baba. As in, mamaya ikukwento ko pa sa iyo how I would commute from UP to Santa Cruz, Laguna when I was coaching Laguna Lakers. Okay? 4 hours one way, 8 hours going back just to have a 2-hour practice. That's for almost 1 season in NBA. No, ganun ang sakripisyo noon, no. Hindi siya naging madali para sa akin, but I never thought about the hardship at the time. I was loving it. I was enjoying what I did.
So, pang pinagsabay mo yung coaching mo sa UPIS pati sa Laguna Lakers, tama ba?
Hindi. After na yon, ang pagkasunod-sunod niyan, UPIS, nagsandali ako sa UP Senior, sandali, and then PBL, and then MBA. So, but I was still staying inside UP campus.
Okay. But so going back, so speak of the PBL, did you even play sa PBL or UAP lang?
UAP lang. Oh, wala nang iba at that time. So, right after playing, diretso na sa coaching. Ano. So, talagang ano lang siya. Sabi ko nga sa iyo hindi ako kasi I was playing the 4th position and I was really undersized, you know, kasi kung 6'2 lang ako o kung 6'1 lang ako, masyado akong maliit talaga even sa PBL, no. So hindi ko na inabot yan, although I did not try really much, but I wouldn't think that na lalayo din ako in terms of playing sa basketball. Kung mga interbank lang yan at interbarangay, pwede pa. Hindi uubra yung galing ko na doon.
Okay, Coach. Naplisan natin ng UP Juniors career nyo na bilang coach. Brian, you have an interesting question there?
Interesting ba? Hey, Coach, may naman sa juniors dyan at that time. And then, bago tayo pumunta, may tanong ako Coach. Coach, sino ba yung mga teammates na naaalala mo nung time mo?
Teammates saan?
UP. Sa UP?
Well, ang pinaka nag-PBA would be si Poch Winyo, si Joey Guanyo.
Okay.
No? So yun yung mga naalala kong nag-PBA . Pero yung mga mahuhusay, I'm sure kilala mo to, si Paul Du. Ewan ko si Paul Du. Assistant ni Pat, si Butchoy. Puro Chinese ito si Harlan Yu. Harlan Yu, naglaro din to sa NBA si Harlan. Now, ang isa pa, yung head ng isang Senate division ngayon, si Lino Ong. Si Lino Ong. And then, majority of my teammates, I could say fairly well, really did well in their career, in their respective careers. Not particularly in basketball, no? But some of them are executives in banks, working abroad, expats, no, in diplomatic corps. Marami sa kanila. Some are lawyers, some are doctors. So yun lang ang ano ko, kasi wala namang ganong kagaling Walang ganong kagaling doon sa amin sa basketball at that time.
Kasi sino yung who was handling you then, Coach? I can't
if you remember the coach of recent UP, Ray Madrid, if you remember him.
Yeah.
Ray Madrid was our coach at that time. So siya yung naging coach namin. So 5 years namin kasama yon. So yeah, so yun yung buhay namin sa UP at that time. Hindi malakas, but we really had some good times there, and we stay in touch, especially with our teammates.
Okay. Fast forward na ako ulit. Yung the actual question. Coach, nagano na kayo, UPIS hawak nyo. Sino naman yung mga players na nahawakan nyo na talagang progress in their career?
Well, there's only one. Si Paulo lang. Si Paulo. Paulo Mendoza.
Oh, okay.
Si Paulo. Kasi UPIS yan all the way si Paulo. Although sandali ko lang nahawakan. But mostly, ganun din yung UPIS. Ganun din yung kwento nila. No? We would, in the UAAP, would probably win 3 or 4 games.
Okay.
3 or 4 games. So when I was coaching, ang Ateneo noon, yun na yung kalakasan nila. Ang high school at that time was Enrico Villanueva, si Wesley Gonzalez, sila BJ Manalo, galing Ateneo si BJ, di ba? So, yan yung kalakasan nung high school team ng Ateneo. Pero katulad ng sinabi ko, itong mga high school players ko na to became professionals also. Engineers, very good architects, doctors, and all of those. No, wala ring naging magaling na basketball player o naging PBA player. Only Paulo did.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, Coach. Regarding, syempre, matagal-tagal na rin ang pag-coach natin sa UP Juniors. Syempre, you are reaping right now the benefits of those years na being a coach, and everyone remembers their high school or college coach, no? May mga bumalik na sa'yo na during those years na sinabi, "Oy, coach, kain muna tayo, I'll treat you out." Yung mga simpleng benefits na gano'n, no? Or maybe, sinabi nyo nga, meron na kayong, may mga architects na, may mga nagdoktor na ba, mga gano'n. Yung tipong nakatulong na sa'yo, parang, uy, buti na lang, kinoach ko si ganito, no? Meron na bang nalalapitan na ganito, gano'n.
Well, alam mo, after that, no, kasi for the longest time since ng birth nitong social media, I never had a social media account. So they would know that I was coaching this, I was coaching that. Pero when I had my first Facebook account, siguro a month ago lang, or a couple of months back, itong lockdown lang ito kasi wala na akong magawa eh. So I had to have an account. Naku, doon ko lang nakita ulit lahat.
Okay.
No? Itong mga players ko, and they would remind me who they were. Coach, ako ito, si ganito, doktor na ako ngayon. Coach, ako si ganito, arkitekto na ako ngayon. So I really felt very elated. Talagang tuwang-tuwa ako, no. In fact, I was telling my wife, kung meron mang mabuting nagawa itong Facebook sa akin, this is just to affirm what I had been trying to tell them. Kasi my teaching during high school, even in college, laging ko sinasabi, okay? Lagi kong sinasabi yan na only a few of you will make it, okay? Will make it up to the end in terms of playing basketball. You have to make sure that you have a fallback. You have an education. You have to have an open mind. You're more than just a basketball player. Without killing their dreams.
Yes.
Okay? I'm very careful about that. Kasi syempre, alam mo yan, minsan kahit na walang pag-asa, pero panaginip ko, coach eh. Diba? May mga ganun. But I'm very careful of not killing those aspirations in life. So sinasabi ko sa kanila, that's fine. Walang problema yan. But you need to have a plan B. Hindi pwedeng ilagay mo lahat ng bet mo doon without having something to fall back to, no? Hindi pwedeng hindi ka mag-aral. Hindi pwedeng magkaroon ka hindi magkaroon ng ibang options if this is not going to happen. So more, again, going back into my coaching style, yan yung coaching style ko. More on teaching them about life as I know it.
Yeah.
Yun yung gusto kong i-share sa kanila. Ang basketball, it becomes fun. Everybody knows basketball. Ano ba sikreto sa basketball? Wala namang sikreto sa basketball eh. So we play hard. We know our defensive schemes. We run if we could. Okay, practice shooting. Okay, ano pa ba? Walang ibang sikreto sa basketball. But your mindset has to be the right mindset.
And there are a lot of things that basketball can teach you about life as well, no? Di ba, Coach? I'm sure you can attest to that. But anyway, Coach, syempre, binalabalasan natin ang pag-coach din sa NBA. Describe those years, no? Kasi ngayon, we see MPBL right now, but can you compare the two leagues, no? Yung MPBL and NBA, no? On yun nga, siguro on scope or what, how could you compare them, yung dalawang liga na yun?
Well, ang una ko, because I only watch a couple of actual games sa MPBL. Alam mo yung nakita ko kasi napanood ko sa Davao, halos pareho talaga yung recept. Although I feel during the NBA times mas wild yung crowd, no?
Yeah.
But at this time, pero yung reception nila is the same. Pareho yung kasi meron tayong regionalistic minds regionalistic feelings no? Pag Davao ka, kalaban mo Maynila, hindi pwedeng matalo tayo. Pag nandun ka sa Basilan, kalaban mo si Mandaluyong, hindi pwedeng matalo tayo. So, alam mong merong tayong feeling na ganun palagi. So, ano siya nandun yung ang kaibahan lang nito, NBA followed the business model of PBA at that time. Ibig sabihin, they got in the superstars, no? Kinuha nila si Vince Season, they got in Bong Ravena, they took in some of the PBA players para magkaroon ng siguro feeling nila, because that was ABS-CBN, na magkaroon ng attraction, no? Na yung kilala.
So,
pero itong itong PBA, itong MPBL, purely to talagang ang labanan nito, kwentuhan nga nila Com Kenneth, pati yung mga yung mga staff niya doon, sabi niya, Coach, maganda-gandang maganda-gandang ligang labas, talagang balyahan. Pag nandun ka sa gilid, talagang pure basketball Parang kung ikaw yung
larong Pilipino talaga.
pag naku, Sus Mariosep, sabi ko, grabe naman dong mga banggaan dito. Yung talagang, alam mo yung parang may pustahan, yung labanan, yung parang papakamatay talaga. So makikita mo yung ganon. Makikita mo doon so in both leagues, pareho yung reception ng regions, but at the same time it's a very good idea for us to have that kind of of tournaments and leagues.
Add ko lang, Coach, have you seen the NBL naman, yung National Basketball League? There's another regional league ongoing right now.
May mga players ako nagpapaalam, but I haven't seen them in actual. Nakikita ko lang yung mga nakikita ko sa YouTube o yung mga ibang pinapasa sa akin, no. Pero yung NBL, I know that they exist kasi may mga players ako naglalaro doon so I have yet to see one of their games.
Okay, but right now they're planning to turn pro. They already talked to Gab about it. So, you think it's a good idea that the NBL goes pro, or dapat sumabay na rin MPBL?
Well, katulad ng sabi ni katulad, 'di ba? If you remember yung comment ni Coach Chot, no? Yung pinaka failure of NBA was to follow the business model of the PBA. Kasi paano mo naman lalabanan yung business model ng PBA? These are the conglomerates in the Philippines, 'di ba? Ano yung gusto mong ilalaban doon? And then mas mabuti pa that you have your own niche. Kaya nga gustong-gusto ko tong niche ng MPBL because tama yung ginagawa nila Com Kenneth Meron silang niche na ibig sabihin hindi ka pag Phil-Am ka, hindi ka pwedeng lumampas ng malaking-malaki kasi mawawalan yung iba. And then kailangan meron kang locals na player, meron kang ganito, meron kang certain group of people who really would want to see those. No, kasi tulad niyan, social media, YouTube, live NBA right now, who would want to see another pro league? 'Di ba? Ano ba naman anong magiging commercial value niyan? If it's going to be pro, it has to have a commercial value.
Okay. So anyway, coach, ito naman yung NBA days natin, no? Kasi actually I would love to have many leagues kasi ang dami nabibigyan ng opportunity, no?
Right.
Like MPBL gave way to some players and some coaches to the PBA and everything, no? Kayo coach, would you say na magandang naging tulay mo yung MBA to higher coaching stints?
Oh yeah. Oo. Kasi MBA was starting at that time. That was 1998 nagsimula. I think that was 98 or 97. Okay, I got in the second year, no? So nung second year pumasok 'yan, talagang ang lakas ng dating talaga ng MBA at the time.
Yeah.
No? So totoo 'yon, no? I was able to coach that Surigao Miners team, and then after that, because pag sinabi mo kasing tulay, you have to be in the ang tawag nun parang peripheral vision ng mga teams no? Hindi ka naman makikilala if they don't know you. Yes. No? So they have to know that you are coaching. Well, I was coaching in the PBL, but after that I coached in the NBA. After that I coached for 2 teams. And then after that, I went into the corporate world. So they have to know. So kung ang tanong mo is naging tulay yun, yes, naging tulay yun because it added into your resume. It added into your experience. Nagkaroon ka na tuloy ng parang professional experience because MBA was considered as professional at that time.
Ivan, may mga ano ka ba dyan? May question ka ba dyan?
May pa actually. So coaching first and foremost, you mentioned earlier that you're a native of South Cotabato. So, of course, we all know they have a team then sa PBA, sa NBA, yung Sox Sergeant Marlins. So, were you surprised that the Marlins did not call you up for the head coaching job? Kasi I think si Coach Bibo yun naging head coach.
Yeah, oo. Well, at that time kasi, there was a time na after that, we were already talking. No? We were already talking. Siyempre, alam mo naman pag teams, 'di ba? Ito muna gawin natin. Pag nag-uumpisa ka ng matalo o hindi na magiging magandang performance, sino naman susunod? Syempre, maraming mga names na papasok and one of those names was mine. No? In fact, ang gusto pa mangyari noon because his assistant coach was a friend of mine that was I think that was Jess Migalbin. No, si Jess, sabi niya, if I could still play kasi one of my teammates was playing there. Bata pa rin naman ako at that time, no? So sabi ko tapos na ako sa paglalaro, hindi ko na kaya 'yan. No? So after a year, that was the year ang sinasabi mo, 1 year yung Sox Sergeant, and then the next year I was hired by Surigao Miners. No, in fact, I'll tell you a story kasi in 1999, early 1999, my dad passed away early. No, so my dad was the reason why I was into basketball. Now, he wasn't a basketball player, but he is a great aficionado of basketball. When I was young in South Cotabato, I would listen to basketball games in radio. No, radio yun, yung radio lang talaga kasi yun yung transistor radio niya na yun ang nagpapatulog sa akin. Nakikinig ako he was a Toyota fan at that time. That was late 70s. No, mga alas 7, tulog na yung tao sa probinsya ng alas 7. No, so yun yung games ng PBA, and I would recall, I would know the stats, and then after that I know na he would encourage me to play basketball kasi medyo malaki nga ako at that time, but he never pushed me. So when I went into playing and into coaching, when I was appointed coach of Surigao Miners, he already passed away early on. That was March. My game with I think that was in June when we played in Marbel in Socsargen, no? And we beat Socsargen. After the game, while I was traveling from Marbel going to Jensan, I was really crying, because I really wanted him I really wanted him to have watched that game. Nasabi ko, Dad, kung hindi man ako naging PBA player, naging coach din naman ako ng pro team. No, so I was telling my mom, sabi ko na nandito si Dad, nakita niya na yung aspiration niya para sa akin, naging totoo din naman. So yun yung naalala ko na game namin sa Socsargen, na we beat Socsargen in their home court.
And so going back, say you mentioned that you were teammates with Butchoy Du and Harlan Yu. At that time, they were playing sa Cagayan de Oro Amigo. So,
yeah.
What were the reactions when they found that, hey, you're coaching already?
Yeah, tama ka dyan, Ivan. No? In fact, sabi ko nga sa'yo, kaya ko rin ni-recruit si Paul Du sa Cagayan de Oro. If you remember, kung maalala mo pa yung mga players, marami akong naging player from Cagayan de Oro Amigos.
Yeah.
Kasi nag-uumpisa yung Surigao So I got in Lenny Reyes, Yulo Rigala. Kung maalala mo pa yun, ang dami nila. And one of those was Billy Reyes, the brother of Chot Reyes. Billy Reyes. And then si Paul Du. So si what's his name, yung kahanding? I forgot. Ronnie. Si Ronnie. So I took in Ronnie. So yan yung mga core ni Coach Boyce, who is also a friend. So sabi niya, hindi niya na mare-renew ito. Kinuha ko na. That was the core of our Surigao Miners team. Kasi nauna sila, 'di ba? So nagkaroon na sila siguro ng mga bagong players. I took in those teams from Cagayan de Oro. So yun ang naging core ng team ko.
So wala bang awkwardness that you're coaching Paul Du kung dati kayo pa yung magkakampi as players?
Wala naman kasi ang coaching style ko naman, Ivan, puro pakisama Alam mo, sabi ko nga sa'yo, hindi naman ako, I could not pretend to be Tim Cone or Jong Wit Chico or Coach Chot at that time because I wasn't, di ba? Hindi ka naman pwede, ito gawin nyo. Bata pala ako, pinapanood ko na si Manny Victorino, player ko. 'Di ba? Pinapanood ko si Cadel Mosqueda, player ko rin siya. Ako yung bata, siguro majority of them mas matanda pa sa akin because I think I was late 20s lang ako mga 28 ako. Nung nagko-coach ako, batang-bata pa ako. So puro pakiusapan. In fact, I would ask them, parang that's just a simple leadership trait na dapat gawin mo kung hindi mo mapasunod ano ba gusto nyo gawin, di ba? So in fact natatawa ako because ito yung mga matatandang to, we did full court press. Nagpo-full court press kami with si Billy. Pilay-pilay na si Billy at that time, pero nagpe-pressure yun. Yan si Ronnie, ang dami kong mga players na may edad na pero nagpo-full court press kami. So nakakatawa pag naaalala ko yun and sabi ko nga, those were the times that you would reminisce na it gets you to be honest with yourself, it gets you to be grounded. Ito yung mga pagkakataon na yan kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, naikot-ikot ko na tong basketball na to Yan.
Yeah. So how did you end up then sa Laguna Lakers, which we all know became the first Air 21 franchise?
Okay. So after naman itong Laguna Lakers na term ko, yung coach after ng kontrata ko, yung coach nitong what do you call this? Ng Laguna Lakers was Ed Cordero. Okay, Laguna Lakers, the Vice President for basketball operations was si Don Ramon Fernandez.
Yeah.
Yes.
Si Coach Ed, I was playing for Coach Ed in one of those tournaments, no? So player niya ako, and he knew na naging coach ako dun sa Surigao when he took over the coaching reign from, if you remember, that was Bonnie Garcia.
Bonnie Garcia.
Si Bonnie was coaching coaching Laguna Lakers, pero nalipat siya sa Pampanga. So nung lumipat siya sa Pampanga, it was Ed Cordero who took over Laguna Lakers, and he took me in as one of his assistant coaches. No, si Ed Cordero. And after that, siguro after and it's a reality in basketball lagi, there was a time na nawala siya and I took over. Over from him. Okay? And then the next season, that was the season when I was offered by the owner, Bert Lina, and the president, Mr. Lito Alvarez, if I would want to be, kasi nakita niya katulad nga, how I manage the people, sinasabi niya, how would you like to be an executive of our company? And that was FedEx Air 21. So I asked my wife kung tapos na yung, sinasabi ko, tapos na yung basketball career ko, magko-corporate na ako ngayon. So yeah, tinanggap ko yun. That's the reason why I'm here in Laguna right now, because I was the head of the operations of FedEx and Air 21 in this area in the southern Luzon part of operations ng that company.
So paano yan, coach, yung syempre your first coaching stint was in the PBA, was with FedEx, tama, coach? So paano nagkaroon ng transition, no, from nasa corporate ka tapos tinawag ko,
okay,
coach,
ito yung mga,
gusto mo mag-coach ng PBA, di ba? And this is the PBA calling, di ba? Syempre,
So ito yung kwento niya, kaya sabi ko sa iyo, maganda lagi yung mga kwento ko na ganyan pag kinukwento ko yan, not only for you but sa mga batang mga coaches, no. So kinukwento ko sa kanila, I was enjoying my life as the head of this operations dito sa Southern Luzon. No, parang basketball din 'yon kasi ang dami kong tao no, and it was all about operations, no. And if you remember, after the Laguna Lakers stint of FedEx, they bought the Tanduay franchise.
Yes,
ng PBA, yes. No. So ang una nilang coach was I think that was Coach Derek Pomaren, no. And then sunod-sunod 'yon because Mr. Sunod-sunod. Natural naman na buhay ng coaching 'yan, no. Pag hindi naging performance, palit, no. Siguro in 4 or 5 years time, siguro nakalimang palit din si FedEx Air 21 ng coaches nila, no, because the owner, Mr. Bert Lina, has very strong beliefs on how to run a basketball team. Yan yung mga typical owner na talagang may sarili silang paniniwala. Kasi siyempre owner ka na ito dapat ang team ko, no. I need my team to be run and gun. I need my team to be a 3-point shooting team. I need my team to be fast, okay, and quick. No, kasi he's in the business of being fast and quick because he's in the logistics company. Diba? Logistics business is Air 21 and is into FedEx. Kailangan mabilis yung delivery, and that was how he wanted his brand to be known. Mabilis at efficient. No? So while I was there, marami na siyang tinanggal na coach, mga 4 magagaling na coaches. Kasama na nga si Coach Jolie pa dun You know, after that, and then there came si Coach Bong Ramos, was the last one, and they asked me, no, sabi niya, naalala siguro nila, teka, meron tayong executive dito na coach, si Bo. Okay, tatawagin natin si Bo. So because I knew them, I knew how their minds work. So I was part of the coaching staff, but I was still part of the executive position. Meron pa rin executive position. And then after one season or one conference, they took out Coach Bong also, and they wanted me to take over. Okay, so I took over. That was the all Filipino Okay? All Filipino 'yon. My players were Renren. Malakas-lakas rin naman 'yon. Si Renren,
Yeah, actually, I
Yancy.
remember those
Yeah,
players.
malalakas pa yung still had Yancy, Di Ocampo, still have sino to sino ba tong si Takno, sino ba to? Malakas pa yung team na 'yon. And during my stint, first time ko nag-stint doon sa PBA, was their best finish. We beat Ginebra. There was still that time there was still a battle for third. May championship at may battle for third.
Yes,
Tinalo namin yung Ginebra sa battle for third. No, tuwang-to para kami nag-champion eh. No, tuwang-tuwa yung may-ari kasi third place eh. You know, so that was the beginning of my stint and nagtuloy-tuloy yon. Ang ending nun was another championship game against Ginebra. There was a game 7. If you remember that, our import was Steve Thomas. No? Ito pa yung kalakasan ng kalaban namin, si Eric Meng, Kagiwa, JJ Helterbrand. Oh. And their import was yung may toothpick. Sino ba to? Si kalimutan ko. Matangkad, almost 7-footer.
I think it's Chris Alexander.
Chris Alexander, yan. Matangkad na import, no? We had an import si Steve Thomas. So game 7, we lost in game 7. So after that, ibinenta nila yung franchise nila to I think what would became the Burger King na naging team ni Coach Yeng Giao, no? Pero nung nalaman ngayon ang governor at the time of Coca-Cola was JB Bailon, no, who's also a UP alumnus, at si Coach Binky at the time was on his way out. They asked me if I could help. If you remember this, Ivan, si Com Kenneth ang magiging head coach noon ng Coca-Cola Tigers. It was Com Kenneth who was appointed as head coach. And then Com Kenneth called me up because we were close if I could help him out, no? So tinulungan ko siya as an assistant coach first doon sa naging Tigers, and then eventually I was asked, and then we agreed with the agreement of Coach Kenneth na I would take over as head coach and he would be in the management position. Okay, and he became the governor at that time of Coca-Cola, and we had that run with the Powerade run, no? So yan yung mga kwento na yan yung pagkasunod-sunod niyan.
Okay, may tanong dito, no? From 3B Hoops, meron kang tanong?
Coach, tanong ko lang, Coach, yung adjustment nyo dati. Sabi nyo kasi naging part kayo ng corporate after MBA, tapos naging coach kayo sa PBA. Ano yung naging adjustment nyo? Para kasi nagkaroon pa kayo ng tawag dito, absent sa basketball, yung mga ganun.
Well, Drin, ganun pa rin yung question mo kanina, Drin, no? Kung maalala mo, ang kinukwento ko lagi is what kind of coach was I, no? I was the coach. I was the kind of coach na sabi ko na hindi ako masyado dun sa X and O's, 'di ba? I was the kind of coach na we have to do this together. We have to agree that we are going to be a group that's going to achieve a certain goal, no? So from basketball, when I went into the corporate world, ganun din yung philosophy ko, no? When I gathered some of my subordinates sa FedEx and Air 21, marami yan sila. So sinasabi ko sa kanila, we have our targets, we have these goals, we need to achieve those. Ano ba ang kailangan ninyo? And I would explain to them why they needed to achieve those, no? Because in the end, they would be the ones who are going to benefit from that, you know? In the same manner, ganun din yung naging style ko from corporate, balik ulit sa basketball, ganun din ulit ang naging style ko kasi tama ka, nawala rin naman yung gamay mo sa pagko-coach. Tagal din eh. Siguro mga 5 taon din na. Pero I would watch the games. Pero katulad nga ng sabi ko, and that's a testament also, Drin, no? Sinasabi ko, na hindi mo kailangan ng very complicated philosophies or very complicated ways of coaching, no, to be successful, no? just be simple. Know what your strengths are. Make sure everybody understands their role. Make sure everybody would fight for anybody. Get each other's back. Like a family, like a group. So yun yung preaching ko lagi sa kanila. The basketball side would be just the simple side.
Yeah.
Defend well, opportunity offense, share the ball, okay? Know your roles. Ganun lang, 'di ba? Mas madali actually sa PBA kasi sa PBA ang gagaling eh.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Pag nilibre mo si Renren, patay ka na. Titirahan ka talaga noon. Pag nilagyan mo si poste si Ranidel, patay ka rin. 'Di ba? Meron akong mga shooters kaliwa kanan. There was a time si Gary David pa.
Yeah.
Diba?
Oo nga pala, Gary David nga pala.
So hindi pa sila Gabi Espinas, and later on si Doug Kramer, sila JC Intal, si Winnie Arboleda, siyempre nandoon, si Egay Billones, KG Cañaleta, si Papa Nikay, si Ervin Soto, so malakas yung team mo. Simplihan mo lang, diba? O bigay mo poste may mismatch si Ranidel, bigay mo kay Ranidel. Okay? Kailan ilibre niyo si Renren. Diba? There was a time player pa rin namin si Ronald Tubid. So malakas din yung lineup namin.
Thank you, coach.
Okay, Brian, may tanong ka regarding that? Okay na. Ayun, coach, ito si Ivan meron
Si Ivan.
Yeah. So you already mentioned nga yung pang mas madali mag-coach ng mga professionals. But the main concern with them is yung ego nila. So how are you dealing with the egos?
Katulad na sabi ko kanina, you have to make sure they understand what is at stake and what are the goals, You let them be. Kung may ego sila, di ego nila, So kung sinasabi ko sa kanila, okay, what are your, tinatanong ko lagi, what are your goals in life? Bakit nag-iisip ng ganyan, Because ang mga egos naman sinasabi nila, coach, I wanted to shoot the ball because I can. Okay, I'll tell you, this is your stats, 'di ba? You're shooting you're shooting a lot, but then you're only shooting about 28%. 'Di ba? Why don't you share the ball to the others? Now, if you can tell me that you can shoot 40%, pinapakitaan ko sila ng facts eh. Okay? But you have to understand where they're coming from also, some of these guys, sabihin ko nga sa iyo, mga professional na to, sikat na sikat, but some of these guys still thinks as a child. Para mga bata mag-isip mga to eh. Kailangan mo ng recognition, kailangan mo ng appreciation and all. After all, these are people. These are human beings who just wants to be appreciated, who just wants to be praised, who just wants to be affirmed, as basketball players also.
Okay, coach, ito mahaba rin yung coaching stints niya sa PBA. But of course, ito, Ateneo came knocking at your door.
Yeah.
What was it na parang, teka, parang papunta na ako sa college uli, how did that came to you, yung coaching stint sa Ateneo?
Well, after nitong if you remember, we had our championship against Talk and Text. That was a Powerade, may Powerade team. And ang kalaban namin was Talk and Text, na yung management is of course headed by MVP, diba? Who's the main supporter of the Ateneo Blue Eagles program. So after siguro mga another 2 or 3 conferences pa, I was asked by some of the, because Coach Norman at the time was ending his 5-peat, nandun na lang doon sa panglima. Yeah. Alam na nila na magtatapos na yung stint ni Coach Norman. Alam na nila na Coach Norman will take over Talk and Text, I think, at that time, So ang question is, sino ang papalit kay Coach Norman after those championships, So ang dami nilang kinonsider, but one of those guys was me. I was asked by some of the alumni to, Coach, pwede bang kausapin mo lang yung search committee? No, pwede kang pumunta doon. Wala namang mawawala. So sabi ko, sige. No, because at that time, ano bang nangyayari noon? At that time, the franchise of Coke was sold to, I think, was sold to San Miguel.
Yeah.
No, San Miguel, and ang hahawak niyan is si Kong Mikey na. No, that was a Harbor
Northport. Yung
Northport.
which is
Yung
global
Northport
port
before.
at that time.
Yan. So sila yung humawak niyan, and I still had one year of contract. So I asked Kong Mikey at the time, sabi ko nung inapprove na ako ng Ateneo, sabi ko pwede bang palampasin mo na itong kontrata ko. Pinakiusapan ko siya na kung pwede dito na lang ako sa Ateneo, no, kasi bagong challenge ito sa akin, no. So that was again the beginning of how I went back into ito na yung full circle ko, no? So mula sa high school, college, amateur, balik sa professional, balik sa college ulit. You know? So balik sa Ateneo, and then eventually bumalik doon sa alma mater ko. Balik din doon ako sa UP. Di ba? So yun ang naging takbo niyan.
And coach, nung time na yon, nung hinawakan yung Ateneo, you were handling a very young Kiefer Ravena, no?
Yeah.
Nung unang beses nyo nasilayan yung batang Kiefer Ravena, what was your first impressions of him?
Di ba naalala mo, ako noon? Naalala mo, galing ako ng PBA. So si Kiefer, siguro second year pa lang ni Kiefer. 3, 4, 5. Third year niya na ni Kiefer. So 3 taon kami magkasama eh. No? So, alam mo na kaagad no na sasabihin mo na kaagad na itong bata na to pang PBA talaga. It's just a matter of time, no, because he has the complete package. He can defend, he can score, he can rebound, he makes very wise decisions, he's a leader, he's not afraid of taking the last shot. Alam mo na he really has what it takes to be out there in the PBA and excel as well.
And coach, yun nga, kung na ako noon, nung nasa Ateneo kayo noon, I was a neophyte media reporter. Nakikita ko si Kiefer, first one in. No? First one in, laging siya yung unang nag-shooting.
Yeah.
No? Yung disiplina ni Kiefer, and parang nakikipagsabayan pa sila ni Chris Newsome, no?
Yeah.
So what can you say about that roster na nahawakan niya nun? Chris Newsome, Nico Elorde, karamihan nag-PBA na.
Von Pesumal,
Si Von Pesumal, yes.
si Wami Chongson, si Frank Golia, even Poy Eram. Sandali lang kasi medyo injured pa si Poy noon eh. You know, so yeah, marami sila pero mga bata pa sila lahat. Bata pa sila at that time. And ito namang pagkakaroon ng extra work, no, lalo na sa Ateneo. Dinatnang ko na yan. It was Coach Norman's legacy to them, no.
Yes,
Yung work ethic ng team niya, nandun talaga, no, yung teamwork ng team niya, their emphasis on defense and all of that. Inabutan ko na yan at that time. What I did on my part was just to add to the pipeline that they had, no, because the instruction to me was again to recruit. No? So kailangan, kasi wala na yung mga main players nila. Wala na si Greg Slaughter, wala na si Nico Salva, marami nang wala sa kanila at the time. So medyo kapos-kapos na yung lineup, pero solid pa rin, no? At saka coming from a culture na talagang hindi magpapatalo, no? Who's used to winning, no? Ang laking bagay talaga noon, no? Kaya nga yun yung gusto kong coming from there, yun yung gusto kong mai-share dun sa when I went to coach UP, no? Yung walang takot, no? At saka yung pag-iisip kaya palagi. Okay? So yun yung sinasabi ko na at that time, my job was just to get the players who are going to come in. So yun, dun dumating yung dapat sila Arvin Tolentino,
Yeah,
yan si Coco Pingoy, si Hubert Cani, si Clint Doliges, si John
Most of them
Apasible.
are, if not playing in the PBA, playing in the MPBL, doing.
Yeah. And then doon na rin pumapasok yung Nieto twins, si Isaac Go, most of those guys no na nag-champion itong recent times, doon yung pumasok sa nung panahon na yon. But these were part of the they were part of the Ateneo program already. No, kaya talagang yan nakasalangsang sa kanila yan. Kaya laging example mo lagi ang program ng Ateneo when it comes to basketball excellence.
And yung time niyo doon sa Ateneo, Coach, parang most years you almost had it. Aling taon yung masasabi niyo na dapat ito sa atin to? Meron ba kayong
yung last yung twice to beat kami ng NU.
Okay.
No, kasi pa kami noon we were number 1, I think. Number 1 kasi ang ganda ng elimination namin, no? But I think that was also destiny for NU because they eventually became the champion also.
Yeah,
no, sila rin ang naging champion talaga under Coach Eric Altamirano. So lahat naman 'yon. Lahat 'yon, yung second year, yung second year at saka yung third year ko. We had a very good chance, no. Hindi
Coach,
lang namin matapos.
Yung isa doon, I'll have 2 words for na ibabanggitin ko sa inyo na feeling ko isa sa mga sayang na sana sa inyo yun, no? 2 words lang, Macbelo.
Oo, malaking bagay si doon, yung mga putback ni Mac doon, no. But sila rin I think sila rin yung nag-champion.
Sila yung nag-champion.
Sila rin
nakakatalo sa inyo yung nag-champion.
Kasi sino nakakatalo sa I think, kasi nung unang taon ko that was Lasal, no? And si Jeron naman yon. Okay, and then sumunod nun si FEU or NU, and then yun sila rin.
Nung time na yun, laging sinasabi, kahit si Kiefer, sinasabi niya na Macbelo tayo.
Oo. Marami. Si Mac, marami ring tinalo na iba pang teams because of those. Ayan.
Okay, Brian, may tanong ka doon?
Coach, yung pagka-passionate nyo sa game, kumbaga, I mean, how does it rub out on your players? Kumbaga, how do you rub it off on them? Kumbaga, how is Coach Bo in a huddle?
Sa akin, kung mapapansin mo, sa akin kasi always believe my management philosophy is or kaya leadership philosophy is you cannot do it on your own, no? Ako, if you really want to have greater achievements, lagi kong filosofiya sa buhay yun na hindi mo kaya mag-isa yan.
Yeah.
You have to share the responsibility. So let's say for example now, I would want to have very capable X&O guys kasi hindi ako X&O guy. So sa Opensa ngayon, I would have Coach Ronnie Magsanok, one of the best, di ba? So I would pagdating sa Opensa, kung nandiyan kami, siya na magtuturo, no? Pagdating naman sa Depensa, I would have Coach Ricky Dandan, one of the best minds in basketball. So alam ko na alam nila yung ginagawa nila, but at the same time they know what my beliefs are at kung ano yung gusto kong mangyari. So we jive easily, but I trust them 100%. Yun yung ko. So when it comes to huddle, depende sa sitwasyon, no? So if there is a kailangan talaga ng quick decision that needs my attention, I have to make the decision. Pero kung kailangan ng instruction at kailangan ng correction, I would ask my coaches to talk to them first. And continue to encourage them. After that, continue to make them believe that even if we are winning, we need to close this the right way. If we are behind, we need to believe that we can still catch up and win the game. Okay, so yun yung laman ng huddle namin, instructions, and then encouragement.
Was there ever a time na you had a problem with a particular player, any player na parang hindi mo talaga ma-handle? May instance ka ba na experience na gano'n?
Well, I'd like to believe na hindi ako umaabot sa ganong pagkakataon. Kasi unang-una, itong college naman, mga bata naman ito.
Yes.
No? So, hindi naman ito mga sumasagot and all. No? Mga pasunurin pa ito. Doon naman sa pro, wala din. Kasi alam naman nila na kilala nila ako eh.
Yes.
No, ibig sabihin kilala nila ako as a coach na hindi ako masyado confrontational. No, so they would be embarrassed to confront me right there and then. Okay, probably after the game or during practices they would ask me, Coach, how could I help more and all of those. No, but one of my coaching philosophies is that you have to touch the heart first. No? Importante talaga yun. You have to touch the heart first before you could touch their hands. Ibig sabihin, before they could work for you, they have to understand that you are for them.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, anything more? Ivan, Drin?
I have one more question since let's move forward to you because you came to UP and in 2018 you made a breakthrough finals appearance. Talk about that run.
Well, that was really amazing, an amazing run. No, even if I would review time and again our series with Adamson. That was just parang sometimes iniisip mo it was just meant to be. No, there was nothing that Adamson did wrong probably o wala silang ginawang yan. It was just that parang nailagay mo lang sa tadhana ba na yung UP has to be in the finals that particular season kasi was coaching excellently. Pero ang dami, yung mga tira ni Paul, yung laban namin, wala na kami pero lumaban pa rin. Mga tira ni Diego Dario during the overtime, yung pasa ni Juan kay Bright to during yung first game namin. And so yun, kung makikita mo lahat, that was just parang it was designed for us to be in the finals, no? Because even before that, during the elimination, there were a lot of adversities, no? In this, you remember si Paul Desiderio was graduating at the time, pero he wasn't playing the way he should be playing kasi Juan was playing his best season. Bright was playing well also. That was his MVP season. So si Paul, who was graduating and who played really well in the previous season, hindi maganda yung ending ng magiging career niya. So he had some struggles. So we fixed it. We tried to fix it, and in the end, siya bumalik din naman sa kanya because he was the hero in those series we had.
All right. So eventually you lost to Ateneo in the finals, and we had Kyle Slow last August 1st, and we talked to him about foregoing his final year in UP despite this team making the finals. So, but if you were to ask, what would have happened if Kyle Slow stayed in UP for his final year? Do you think you would have at least forced a game against Ateneo or hindi rin?
Kyle's kasi he was already ripe to be in the pros. You know, and even if he would come back yung season na yon, ganun din yung magiging competition niya dun sa position niya, because Richie would be there, Juan would still be there, Kobe will be there, June Manzo will be there. So ibig sabihin, even if he's going to play, it's not going to be that much, no? So ibig sabihin that the time was really ripe for him to turn pro. No, there was no reason for him. He was part of our program while we were struggling and all, and he was a great part of that. He was a great contributor. Okay, and that was the right time for him. In fact, if you ask me, looking in hindsight, that was a very good, best decision that they could have ever done.
All right. So speaking of Richie, Kobe, you eventually brought him in for 2019. But in that year, last year, you were a Renzo Sobillo 3 away from making to the finals. So with that, bigla nagkaroon mga criticism about that UP run na nung 2018, you're the underdogs but you made the finals. 2019, you became the title favorites but you missed the finals. So how did you handle all those criticisms? And what went wrong? What went wrong with last year's lineup?
Well, you have to understand that being a title contender or title favorite, these are just perceptions of people. Majority of this because they have Kobe, they came from the finals, they have Richie now. These are opinions, no. And as coaches, you in although you try to listen to them, but you cannot hindi mo pwedeng mailagay yan sa isipan mo because those are not necessarily true. Those are just opinions of people. Now you know that you have a strong lineup, but you know that you would need also the time to blend. When in fact you go back again to how we did in that season, that was our best elimination game. I don't think that the UP had a season with which we won 9 games. We were 9-5, I think, the last season. So we were in the semifinals and we lost to a very good team. That was UST. And in the second game, we were just seconds away into being in the finals again, if not for the 3-point shot by Ren Subido. So, ibig sabihin, even despite, yun yung sinasabi ko when I explain it to my players and to our staff, even if people will always have different opinions on what happens. Really is happening are us. Kami nandun eh. People will have their own opinions about that and they're entitled to those. But in the end, we know what truly happened in there. We tried our best. Okay, we lost in the quarter. We lost in the final 4. Okay, we cannot dwell on those criticisms and all. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, sabi niyo kanina, may tahid na ako sa basketball eh. Tapos na yan eh. 'Di ba? Ilang semifinals ba ang dapat mong natalo ka o nanalo ka? You have to go to the next one. Go to the next one. Don't ever stop. Go to the next one again. Okay? So yun yung filosofiya ko. You listen, you learn, but you have to move on. You try to learn from those mistakes that you had.
Okay, Coach Po, bago tayo napunta sa UP, gusto ko lang malaman, syempre, this is a thing na kumbaga sinabi nyo nga it's coming full circle for you, pero nung sinabi sa iyo that you're gonna be handling the UP program, ano yung unang pumasok sa isip mo? Kasi you were a player before and you've seen the struggle of UP ever since, anong sinabi mo nang nakuha mo yung trabaho sa, okay, I have a chance to go back to my alma mater and then create some good changes. What was that first thing that you had in mind when you got the job?
Alam ko na the moment I took in the job, alam mo yung sinasabi nilang career move yan eh. Ibig sabihin, bad career move. Okay? Ibig sabihin, ano yan? Career-ending move yan.
Parang okay. Yun nga yung parang sa Coach Bo, galing Ateneo, biglang punta ng UP. So, parang...
so career end. Parang dating mo ako, pag kinakausap ako ng mga kaibigan ko, ng mga taga-UP na iba, sabi niya, pare, parang career ending na yung kinuha mong trabaho ah. Hindi, pero in the end, ganun din yung kung ano man yung pag-iisip ko noon, ganun din naman ang sasabihin ng tao. Tatandaan nyo lagi ito. Ganun din ang itinuturo ko sa mga talks ko, no, sa mga coaches, sinasabi ko sa kanila, kahit na anong pupuntahan mo, people will always have different opinions about it. When I took the Ateneo job, kahit na magandang pinanggalingan ko noon, Coach, bakit mo pupuntahan yan? Ang ganda-ganda ng 5 feet yan eh. Paano mo ano yun yan? Okay, grabe yung mga ano diyan, criticism sa iyo. Somebody has to do this. Bakit naman ako matatakot? Matatakot sa sasabihin nila, di ba? You just have to do it, di ba? Somebody has to do it. You cannot be paralyzed by what people are going to tell you, no? Because in the first place, you cannot live with that kind of philosophy. Hindi pwedeng maapektuhan. Bakit sabi niya, hindi daw ako punta doon, hindi na ako pupunta doon. Pwede ba yung ganun? Di ba? So, yung UP is ganun din. Pero, my plan really was, katulad kanina ko pa binabanggit yan, it's always going full circle. So, sinasabi ko, kung babalik man ako sa coaching at matatapos na yung career ko, it's just fitting na matatapos kung saan ako nanggaling. Di ba? Gusto yung pinanggalingan ko UP eh. Doon na rin ako matatapos sa career ko sa basketball, di ba? Kasi even I didn't have this idea na oh, you are the savior of UP. Wala akong ganung pag-iisip. Ang nasa isip ko na I'll just try. Susubok lang ako. Wala kang magic wand na sasabihin mo na hindi alam ko kung paano yan. Diyos ko, 30 years ba naman yan eh. Mula pa ako ng ano, wala nang maayos na naging programa yan, di ba? How can you say that you have what it takes to build that one? You know? So yan yung nasa isip ko. Somebody has to do it and I'll just try doing it my best.
And yun nga, Coach, looking back, no, ito kanina pinag-uusapan natin yung mga yung championship run na yon, no. Pero ito, after all those wars, no, yan, nakuha niya sila Paul Desiderio, ito, pasukan na sila, yung mga Kobe Paras, yung mga Juan Gomez de Leaño, eto na, suddenly, UP has become a destination. Parang dati, nung tinatanong ko kay Kyle Slow, nung nandito sa amin, parang pag sinabing player ka ng UP, parang pag sinabing, ay, player ako ng UAP, parang saan kang player? UP. Parang napapayo ko. Ngayon, hindi na ganon, no? It's a prime destination and you got Miguel Tan, no? I saw the guy play already. And talk about ito na, you converted UP to a winning culture, no? Talk about that process na pinasok mo, na in-inject mo sa dugo ng UP Fighting Maroons.
Well, kailangan maintindihan din naman ng lahat, no? Kasi in the first place, kumbaga ba kung may stats naman in terms of the schools, UP is supposedly the premier university of our country, no? So siya lang yung nagra-rank sa Southeast Asia, siya yung nagra-rank sa world, no, in terms of education, in terms of research and all of that. So pagdating sa perception ng tao, ang UP is one of the best schools, no? Yeah. So nandun na yung perception na yon. Kaya lang yung programa ng basketball hindi maayos, you know? And you have a number of alumni, prestigious alumni na pwede talagang tumulong. And that's what we were able to do, no? So nagkaroon kami ng programa together with a lot of people helping out, nagkaroon ng pagtutulong-tulong, and we were able to garner support and funding. You know, kasi nga lagi kong sinasabi yan, hindi mangyayari na magiging maayos ang isang programa without the right funding. Hindi magic yan eh. Yeah. Di ba? Hindi ano yan. Sabi, ay hindi, puro itong aming programa. Walang pera-pera. Tell me a program who doesn't use money and I'll tell you a program who is going to be right there in the cellar. Okay? So, yan yung sinasabi ko. So, we needed the funding to, number one, basic lang, yung pagkain ng players, di ba? Yung dormitories ng player, halimbawa magre-recruit ka ng mga field foreigners, siyempre kailangan bayaran mo yung kanilang pamasahe.
Yes.
No? Number 2, kailangan mong kung yung mga top programs nagti-training abroad, hindi lang naman pwedeng hindi ka mag-level up, no? It's a corporate philosophy. Kailangan labanan mo, pantayan mo yung ginagawa ng yung mga top, no? O kailangan masundan mo sila, no? So, yan yung mga sinasabi ko na nangangailangan talaga ng pondo yan, no? So when we were able to do that, no, nag-umpisa yon kay Bright, no? Akweti, when we were able to take him in. So nagkaroon kami ng solid na big man kasi sa basketball solid na big man eh. No? Sinuwerte naman kami kay June Manzo, no? Because June Manzo came from Cebu na halos pumunta lang yun, nag-try out nga lang siya kasama ni Paul eh. No? So nagkaroon kami ng isang maayos na point guard at isang maayos na big man, 'di ba? And we still had Paul Desiderio at the time. And then coming in was the GDL brothers, 'di ba? Si Juan and then si Javi. No, so ibig sabihin, meron na kaming at least mga 5 na panlaban. Medyo shallow pa rin yung bench namin, pero panlaban siya. And then we still had Jarrell Lim, and we still have Diego Dario na mga mahuhusay ito eh, no? Coming off the bench or coming off sa roles that they are going to play. So, yan ang nagbigay ng nagbigay ng direction dun sa programa namin. And then it was affirmed by the fact that we went into the finals. Now, when we went into the finals, you had to understand na yung community ng UP napakalaki nito. Napakalaki nito. So, katulad nga ng sabi ko kanina in the beginning, people would want to talk about UP. Kaya naging highlight siya eh. You know?
Yeah.
Well, ilang beses ba nag-finals na si FEU? Ilang beses ba nag-finals na si kung sino team, Lasal and all of that, pero hindi yung ganitong hype. O yung hype ba nila na parang there's a program na hindi maging maayos, naging maayos, naging ganito yung dating ng programa nila. So naging naging sensationalized siya that it becomes also in a way naging destination tuloy siya ng mga recruits. No, hindi na nag-aalangan ngayon na ikaw magaling ka na player, saan ka pupunta? O pag sinabi mo before sa UP, naku po, sabi ko, edi ano magiging kinabukasan mo diyan? Di ba? So, ngayon, alam mo na may kinabukasan ka when you come to UP.
Okay. So coach, ito naman leading to this to last year, kumbaga sinasabi natin parang masyadong malakas na yung UP na that they won't lose. But eventually, it faltered. No? Pero what could have, kumbaga, ano yung pwede nating nagawa sana na, kumbaga, natumbasan na pumunta ulit tayo sa, to that stage once again. And your chances this year, no? Lalo na may mga magaganda tayo nakuwang mga recruits.
Alam mo, hindi ko dinidiscuss itong panahon na yan sa UP kasi it will sound as an excuse, no? So remember na when we were able to start the season last season, si Juan wasn't playing pa because Juan came from an injury. No, hindi magandang niya. Kobe only played I think the 3rd or the 2nd game.
Yes.
No, because he came from an injury. Now those two guys, si Bright was playing injured. No, all off season long talagang yan. Pero hindi katulad ng sinasabi namin at katulad din yung pinipreach ko sa kanila, hindi naman pwedeng magiging excuse sa atin yan, no? Because we are a team that is supposed to contend, no? And then si Richie was trying to find his way in.
Yeah.
Okay, trying to find his way in, no? And it's only par for the course na yung tao would expect a lot kasi because of those guys.
Yeah.
Diba? Si Richie and Richie and Kobe together would have probably the number 1 and 2 following in terms of social media. Di ba? So, alam mo na yung kasikatan mo, nandun yun. But, yung totoong nag-iisip ng basketball would always tell me, yung mga coaches, tatawagin nila, coach, that is a formula for disaster. Yung ginawa mo. Totoo naman talaga. No? Kasi, bumalik ka kanina, yung mga egos, pinag-uusapan natin, may mga ano na to may certain pag-iisip na sila sa sarili nila. You have to make it work for the team, But then again, me as a coach, I wanted to have the chance to be vying for the championship again. Now, question: if I did not have Kobe, if I did not have let's say Richie, would we be able to contend, in the Final Four at least? My answer would be questionable. Okay? But we were able to put ourselves in a position to go into the finals with being, number 2 in the elimination. Yeah. Nagawa na ng team yon. Natalo kami sa Final Four.
Okay. Brian, may question ka doon?
Yeah. Coach, yun nga, total, dito na rin tayo. And I guess a lot of people, magkabagsawa sa kakatanong ng mga questions about your new recruits. Ano ba how did this, when did this start? Yung kay Jerry Abadiano and Carl Tamay, parang biglaan kasi, was it a process na matagal na or biglaan lang to? You just heard na they're available? How did it start?
Well, katulad ng binanggit ko nga, because napakarami na nagtatanong dito sa akin. The time, well, noon pa man, pinapatanong ko na yan, available kaya yung mga, as a coach, trabaho mo yan, di ba? Available kaya yung mga players na yan ng NU? Sinasabi, naku, hindi obra yan. Dahil siyempre, diretso na sa NU yan. And si Coach Gold, pag-appoint, nung na-appoint na si Coach Gold, ako, imposible na. Dahil susunod yun dapat doon. If I'm NU seniors, I would be, wala na akong pakakawalan dyan, di ba? So, yan yung natural na thinking, After during or after nitong lockdown, I just heard, narinig ko, sabi niyo, si Kevin Kiambao napunta ng Lasal.
Oh, okay.
So that was my first question. Paano nangyari 'yon?
Yes.
Paano nangyari pumunta si Kevin Kiambao dun sa NU yan, 'di ba? So that gave me an opening. So I asked my management staff and our supporters, can you kindly ask, baka naman pwede pa natin ma-convince, because sabi nga nila, it's always life is always fair and square when it comes to recruitment. So we have to say our piece also, because kulang talaga kami, yung position na yun, kulang kami. Yung position ni Jerry as a point guard or shooting guard and a 4 guy or a 5 guy. Yun ang kulang namin . So we were discussing that, and mabuti na lang, tulad ng binabanggit ni Carl, isa sa mga nagkukumbinsi sa kanya at that time was his aunt, who graduated as an alumna of UP. And then when we asked Jerry, when they talked to the parents, ganun din ang sagot niya na pwede kaming mapunta sa UP. So of course, lahat ng yan had to be in a process na we had to talk to people who are supporting them. So yung opening na yon, na nung nalaman ko na nakuha pala ng Lasal si Kevin Kiambao, gave me an opening na baka naman pwede itong dalawa, baka pwede sila. Ayun.
Tapos before that, coach, di ba nasa inyo rin si Maymay? Si Di Makulangan from Lasal?
Kagulangan,
sorry. Kagulangan niya. I know kasi yun.
But yeah, doon pa lang siya sa si Maymay would be playing next season pa.
Okay.
So hindi pa siya kaya nagmumukhang sensationalize yung mga recruits ng UP, pero hindi nila alam na halos kalahati diyan hindi pa maglalaro.
Okay.
Marami pa diyan ang hindi maglalaro sa kanila. So si Malik Diof would be next season pa. Si Maymay Kagulangan would be next season pa. Marami dyan sa mga nire-recruit namin ang kulang, ang hindi pa nag-establish ng residency pa. Okay? So, naka-prepare yan for next season pa.
Okay, yun. Pero coach, with your roster last year, yung mga holdovers, with the new recruits, do you think kumpleto na yung mga pag-ano nyo? Would you say you have
Oo, pagdating sa in terms of positioning, meron na kami bawat isa. So, it's just a matter of trying to get them to play together na imposible pa sa ngayon. Kasi dapat ngayon yun
Yes.
Oh, so meron na kaming last year na ni Bright Acueti, so may sentro kaming isa. Wala kaming sentro after that No? Susunod na diyan would be si J-Boy Gob na galing din ng Lasal.
Yes.
No? So susunod diyan would be si Carl Tamayo. And then yung mga 4 namin, mga undersized 4 na ito. No, katulad si Noah Webb, no, katulad nun si Jay Katapusan, yung mga ano namin, mga holdovers namin. And then dito yung position ni June Manzo nung nawala siya, walang pumalit diyan. Kaya naghahanap kami kung sino ang papalit talaga. Kasi supposedly it will be Juan.
Yes.
Si Juan ang kukuha niyan but they decided, both him and Javi, to just play the next season because they wanted to focus on the national team, okay, and some other things. So which is just fine also kasi para meron pa rin naman kaming players sa next season. No. So kaya lang yun ang naging problema namin, yung point guard position. So that is why we were looking for a point guard. Okay, so yun ang kulang.
Ernest, Mike.
Anyway, Peps, ang ating bagong salang dito. You have a question for Coach Bo?
Ingat kayo dyan, Coach. Mayroong connection niyo sa isang player niyo.
Wala akong connection sa isang player. Hi, Coach. I've been observing and watching this show of Sports on Air. No, it's very interesting. It's giving me an insight about you. No, I just wanted to ask. No, kasi like sa NCAA last year, di ba alam niyo nag-champion ng Letran.
Yeah.
Ang stand nila was no import, no problem.
Yeah.
Do you think that the UAAP can do the same, or other schools can do the same to give opportunities to local players, or do we really need the imports?
It's not a question of needing them. It's a question of how are we going to are they going to make us better? Okay, that is always a question, because remember, Letran, even if they were able to win that, would always have a hard time. Remember what they went through, no? Mahirap din naman talagang pinagdaanan nila, no? And then you always have to ask questions kasi, no, na will the imports make our teams better in terms of competition? Kaya sinasabi nila because yung international landscape naman of playing basketball would always have bigger guys or better guys, no? For me, basketball would always be basketball if kasi kung meron tayong malalaking player, katulad yan, I got in Carl Tamayo, no? Carl Tamayo is a big man. I don't think he's going to give in to imports. No, he is going to play on his own. No, let's say the big man of si Isaac Go of Ateneo, hindi lang naman siya naglaro with Kwame. No, he played on his own. Yes. So he held his own against the bigger guys or the import guys. So for me, it's a question of, will these guys compete with me and make me better? The answer for me is yes. No? Now, can we live without the imports? Of course we can live with the imports. Without the imports. No? Pwede din naman yun. But then, would the competition be the same? My answer to that is no. No, because the imports are stronger. They make sa atin, they make us shoot better because we cannot just go through Ange Kouame and just penetrate on them. We have to practice our shooting, no? Kasi may mga last line of defenses na ngayon ng teams, So we are going to make adjustments because of those manpower.
Oh, thank you, Coach. And then another question I'd like to ask, no? Since you've been coaching so many teams, no? And now recent, or the last was of course the season 81, no? What is your most favorite or most how do you say it? Most memorable UAAP experience, if you have any?
Well, that was the series with Adamson. No, that was a series with Adams. In fact, specifically, that's going to be the last 2.30 minutes of the second game of Adamson. No, I think that just that series, that game is going to go down as one of the best UAAP games ever played. No, coming up and down, overtime game. Okay, with the finals at stake. So I think that was my one of my favorite moments in coaching.
Well, that's good to know, Coach. Thank you very much for entertaining my questions.
Thank you.
Okay, anything more guys? Drin, meron ka pang katanungan, no? Ito naman, Coach, medyo malis tayo ng konti tungkol sa stint mo sa Mighty Sports.
Yep.
Actually, sir, ano to eh, regarding pa rin to sa recruitment college basketball. So, medyo nagdadalawang isip nga ako yung tanong to eh. Pero ito na lang,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Ito, sir, hingi lang ako ng opinion nyo. Kasi sa US NCAA, bawal kasi makakuha ng monetary gift or maglaro sa liga yung mga players nila na may bayad. Basta may bayad sila. Kaya nauso yung one and done nila sa NBA. So, palagay nyo ba, Coach, gaano ka-importante yung package na binibigay ng isang school sa isang player para maglaro ito sa kanila?
Okay, una, let's contextualize that question, no, para maintindihan ng lahat, no. Unang-una, walang guidelines sa UAP or even dito sa UAP sa NCAA sa atin or in college basketball na ipinagbabawal 'yan. No, so walang guideline in terms of legalistic terms, no. Walang nagsasabi na bawal mong bigyan ng allowance o bawal mong bigyan ng package o bawal mong bigyan ng plane tickets o yung magulang and all of that, no, yung player na nire-recruit mo. So walang fundamental legalistic issue in terms of that. Now the next question is that the right direction for our college students and players? I would say that is not the right way to do it. Okay? I would say that it is not the right way to do it. But for as long as there is no fundamental rules against it, okay, teams and programs are going to go around it every time. So to address that, there has to be a guideline that has to prevent that from happening. So yun yung sinasabi ko. Kasi hindi mo pa, bakit niya binigyan ng ganitong package? Bakit niya binigyan ng allowance ng ganito? Bakit bawal ba? Di ba? Probably morally, bawal. Hindi siya maganda para sa mga bata o para sa going into that. No? But hindi mo mapiprevent yung isang programa or isang team that is wanting to rise up or was wanting to perform, no? Kasi yan lang ang way eh. Makakakuha ka ng tamang personnel eh. No? So sa akin, there should be a rule against it, okay? Because without the rule against it, every team is going to find a way how to go around it. Yun yung perception ko diyan.
Thank you, Coach. Actually, may follow-up ako kaso ibang tanong naman to, Coach.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kasi halos naikot nyo na kasi yung basketball community dito sa Pilipinas. So, sa tingin nyo ba, ready na magkaroon ng babaeng coach or part ng maging assistant coach dito sa mga liga sa Pilipinas?
Yes. I really believe that, no? But before that happens, there has to be parang kailangan, kasi alam mo Drin, nasi stereotype kasi yung mga babaeng coaches natin eh, no? Parang pag ikaw halimbawa nasa ligang barangay lang, may magko-coach sa yung babae, sasabihin mo, bakit ako maniniwala dito? 'Di ba? So yun yung laging iisipin mo, no? That's stereotyping eh. So if women are going to coach, there has to be a program for that, no? So that the confidence level, so that the trust level of the coaches and the basketball community are going to be high when that happens. Because we can, katulad yan, yung coach, assistant coach ngayon ni Pop, no, ni Greg Popovich, no, pinaghirapan niya yun eh. He was a very good player, naging staff siya for a long time, and then pinakita niya na kaya niya. So walang question about his ability and his capability to do it.
Anyway, guys, no? Syempre, ano na natin tayo, no? Overtime na tayo dito. Ang dami nating pwede pang pagkwentuhan. We can go all day, coach, no? Ang dami pa.
Thank you.
Okay, coach, eto na lang, no? May mga final questions pa kayo, Brian?
Ako yung last question ko yung sa Mighty. Coach, sabi niyo dati yung you coach out of parang technically pakikisama yung di ba? So how was the experience yung sa Mighty niyo yung 2016, mga Amerikano to, mga NBA players, how were you able to adjust? Paano mo na-handle yun? Kumbaga egos ngayon, pero yung inasabi mo parang medyo mahirap. Ito mga foreigners to, medyo iba yung nito. Dating nila. How were you able to manage that?
You were referring to the Jones Cup,
yes,
no?
Sir.
When
yes,
we
sir.
swept the first time we swept the
Yes.
Jones Cup, no? So again, that was sponsored by a good friends, Cesar Wong Chuking and Alex Wong Chuking, the Mighty Sports, no? So hindi naman siya naging mahirap, Brian, kasi pag sanay ka in terms of managing people, pag may dumating diyan, sa akin, at saka if you remember, these are professional players too, no? Si Ndiaye, yung import ng NLEX before, I forgot his name. Basta napakalakas talaga ng they're used to be in teams na iba-iba yung coaches, no? You just have to make sure that they understand what is the role, what is the goal, and the goal is to bring the championship to the Philippines at that time sa Jones Cup, no? And alam mo, dahil siyempre dahil professional players, you have to bait them with incentives also.
Okay.
No, they cannot play for pride for Philippines. They're not Filipinos.
Yes.
But when you tell them that if we won this game, we're going to have $1,000. If we went into the championship, we're going to have $5,000. If we go into being the champions, then you're going to have $10,000. They're going to fight to the death for you. Given yan.
Okay. So
so it's all about management, no? Pare-pareho lang naman yan. So make sure very clear to them yung objectives and all, no?
Coach, ito parting question. Dalawang team ang papabuo ko sa iyo, no? You're gonna form a PBA team, no? Kumbaga ang deal lang, no? Lahat ng na-coach mo sa PBA, no? For one game, no? For one game, sino yung 5 player na yon? Sino yung mga position nila?
Medyo mahirap na tanong yan,
Kunwari sabi sa'yo, Coach Bo, we have one game. You have to win it, pero you have to win it with your PBA play. Lahat ng inawakan mo PBA players, bukas wala na yung coronavirus. Sino yung 5 yan?
Well, sigurado ako nandun would be Ranidel. Okay. Sigurado ako nandun si Ranidel. No, my point guard would probably be either or lang yan, no? Si Alex Cabagnot or si Chris Ross. No, kasi pareho kasi na-handle sa my shooting guard would be either or again, si Renren or si Gary. No? So yun yung mga shooters ko, no? So yung power forward ko na, ang big man ko, wala akong masyadong na-handle na big na na Pinoy. The best would be big man. That would be the biggest would be Yancy. Si Yancy na. Si Yancy na yung pinaka big ko.
Sa
brothers. So sila yung mga naman. And then saan yan?
3 position naman.
Okay. Sa 3 position, inaalala ko kasi kung sino yung mga players ko eh. Ang dami na eh. Wing. Ito na maalala yung iba eh. Probably a big wing like KG Canyaleta.
Okay.
Si KG.
Pwede.
Bigyan kita ng isang lifeline, isang import na nahawakan mo na pwede mong dalhin.
Isang import, no? Wait. Kasi in terms of attitude and all, that would have been Steve Thomas. Kasi maganda ang attitude ni Steve. And he's a big man who defends really well, who knows his role, and he's a rebounding rebounding giant. No? So yun ang ano ko.
Okay, so you have Ranidel and Yancy as your power forward center. And your three,
Pwede si KG.
Si KG. Tapos sa tunyo, si
either si Renren or si Gary, and then
the
si
point guard, Chris Ross or Alex Cabagnot. Tapos Steven Thomas is the import. Pero ito, coach, medyo twist naman natin ng konti. Paano kung UAP player lang ang pwede mo dalhin?
UAP. Siyempre, si Kiefer should be there. Kiefer should be there.
As what? 1 or 2?
Pwede siyang kahit na 1 or 2, and for my sino ba? Sa Kobe and Richie should be there also. No, kasi parehong pareng skilled 'yun eh. Kung Pinoy lang ang big man, sino ba ang mga bigs ko? Okay, yung pinaka-best na doon would be si Poy. Si Poy siguro. Ang power forward, hindi ko na maalala kung sino yung mga power forward. No?
Pwede din naman isama si Brett Taquetti kasi naman hindi naman.
Kasama. Ako na si Bright and Poy.
Bright, Poy,
and
Kobe, Richie, and
Kiefer siguro.
Kiefer.
Okay. Si June Manzo sa point guard and si Paul. Yun yung mga kasama doon sa wings.
Coach,
ayan. So,
di mo papasok, coach? Si Noah Webb, di mo sasama sa lineup mo?
Si Noah, yan yung ano ko. Yan yung team captain ko. Pero Noah is one of my brightest stars in terms of how we keep the team together. Kasi siya yung mga kailangan mo, glue guy ng team yan eh. No, so hanggang ngayon napakahusay na leader, napakahusay makisama. Yan yung mga teammates na maaalala mo habang buhay.
Actually,
Coach, sandali lang. Batiin nyo, kahapon birthday niya.
Binati ko na kahapon pa. Binati ko na.
Yung coach yung sinasabi ko sa'yo, mag-ingat ka kasi ka mag-anak niyan.
Kamukha eh. Kamukha.
Pero coach, kung pati nyo yung UAP 5 nyo, pwede mag-national team eh.
Mausay naman yun. Yeah, but a lot of other guys, yung sinasabi ko sa inyo, those are just offensive prowess eh. But ang pag sinabi mong sino yung mga favorite mo ng mga players, you could name a lot kasi because of their attitude and by not giving you, alam mo yung kasama mo palagi. Yan, isa sa mga tao na yan si Noah Webb. Na gusto mong kasama sa kahit na anong bagay because he would support you all the way. Yun.
Nakabawi na, Peps.
Papabuti ko sa kanya. Birthday niya naman.
Yan, sige
saka,
guys.
Coach, may binibenta po yung tatay niya. Tatawagan ko kayo mamaya.
Yung Palawan? Hindi.
Hindi, bukod sa Palawan, meron kaming produkto.
Sige. Papasabi mo.
Coach, wala. Pero papakonta ko kasi si Noah.
Sige.
And with that, Coach,
sige guys.
Coach.
Any parting words? No?
Itong ginagawa ninyo, especially during this time of pandemic kasi, there are two things that are going to happen here. Number one, it gives the chance for people who are listening to you, especially those guys who are aspiring to be players, aspiring to be coaches, to know the experiences of those who are your guests, interviewing where they came from, their struggles, their adversities, how they triumphed, how they continue on with life, how they were able to manage the difficulties, the successes and all, no? So both ways ito. But at the same time, in your guests also, you're able to give them the chance to affirm themselves, because the more that they tell their story, the more that they are able to learn from their experiences also, no? Kasi pag hindi mo naman na ikukwento yan, wala namang ano eh. Wala namang parang walang kwenta ba? Minsan pag kinukwento mo, "Oo nga no, nangyari pala ito," ano? So you are, again, as I said earlier, you feel grounded, you know, you feel humbled kung nasaan ka ngayon, para naiisip mo na you came from somewhere. You know, so this is a very good opportunity that you are giving to those who are listening to you and those you are having as guests also. So congratulations to all of you. And thank you.
Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you,
It was a
thank you.
pleasure. At saka, Coach, at least, di ba, kung if it comes from you, no fake news.
Yes.
Straight from the source.
Diba?
Yeah. So thank you so much, guys.
And with that, we end the show. Abangan nyo po ang susunod namin mga guest dito sa Foul Counted sa Sports on Air. Huwag nyo kalimutan mag-like, mag-subscribe sa aming social media pages. And again, stay safe and God bless.
Thank you for watching. Click the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified with our latest videos.